Hello guys, so welcome back to a Monday morning stream. So we want to be getting into exactly where is it that we are in terms of this Bitcoin cycle. Yes, it's a bear market. How close are we to this bottom, and are we going to be able to jump off of this in a big way? Firstly, AJ, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. As always, we'll get onto the charts in a moment, but for now we are, at a very strong resistance level. So we are in a very important stage where we do need to get above this resistance level if we do want to see a little bit of upside in the shorter term.
Well, okay, let's jump straight in. Let me bring up my screen up here. So as you can see here, this is just an article from Cointelegraph pointing to a few different metrics that kind of show the severity of what we've been through. And if you're still watching these videos, you're still into crypto, you've been through the worst of it. We've had like a 70% drop. So, if you're still here, just keep it out. Just stick with it.
If there is going to be any more downside, for me, it's only going to be maximum another 10%. And that's it. Like you said, the worst of it has gone.
Like we've done 70%, we might as well, there's no point quitting now. But there are some indications that, we are going through a bit of a capitulation event. And so we'll go through a little bit of that, a little bit of that information on this, but just to kind of show you, this is Bitcoin mining. So what we saw recently was in May 2022. This is where a lot of miners have been drained of their coins. So they're putting them onto exchanges, and people are thinking this is probably to sell. So, as you see here, the dip to 17,600, 77 below November's all-time high, shows that miner wallets are sending large amounts of coins to exchanges. This crypto quant suggests precedes the final stages of the Bitcoin sell-off, more broadly in line with historical precedent. And this is it. So, we're seeing this. This does kind of indicate that we might, in fact, be, near the bottom of this cycle. And obviously, there's, a few other metrics. Actually, I'm just going to quickly show you the fear and greed. We're kind of ticking up, last week it was very bad. Everyone was worried. Nobody knew what was going on. But we are, I think, moving into a slightly better market. I will say, I don't have it up here, but the gold is down. I think Apple's up by 3% today, and a load of tech stocks are also up, which is very good for us in the crypto space. AJ, I think we might have a quick look at the Nasdaq later.
Yeah, definitely. The Nasdaq is very important at this moment in time because, like Bitcoin, on the Nasdaq we are at a very, very key resistance level. So yeah, we'll look at that today as well.
Good, because we also they are correlated. I know there was a decoupling event last, I think was it last month or something, where people said there's not quite following the trend, and that is true. But because they've been so closely linked, and the mindset of the investor is that tech stocks are kind of similar to crypto. But one thing that was key to point out was that during this kind of this bear market, this has been the first time that Bitcoin and Ethereum have both traded below their previous all-time highs. So, and this graph doesn't show it. This is actually the Mayer multiple. Maybe I can bring it up on here. So, what they mean is, this was the previous high, but then this was the previous low. It's still above. And then, so then we have a look and we say, okay, well, if this is the next high, where's this next low? This low is down here. It's still every low has been higher than the previous high. So that's a very good upward momentum that we're seeing. But obviously that hasn't happened, and we've now kind of broken that trend for the first time ever.
But there's a lot of things that I think personally have sort of caused this, with sort of the Ukraine war, the COVID crash. So I think there's a lot of stuff out there that, if that didn't happen, then this may not have, happened, and we would have continued this trend. But yeah, I think, there's so much, catalytic stuff going on in the world at the moment that is the reason for this.
No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We've got, crazy inflation. We've got interest rate hikes just being, introduced. We've got, an invasion going on of, to be honest, those two countries, I believe, they make up 12% of the world's calories. They, they make massive amounts of wheat and all this type of stuff. So that is obviously putting pressure on the global economies, plus also, things like oil, etc. There's a couple other points on here, but the key thing that I want to, show is that we have a lot of bad data to look at now, but this is because it has happened previously. And I think we're having these things where investors collectively locked in a loss of $4.23 billion in a single day, which is a 22.5% increase from the previous record of 3.4 billion in mid 2021 as like a single day loss. That is awful. But the whole point of kind of bringing this to your attention is that, in fact, don't be too worried about this because it's happened and it's now in the past. That's kind of one of the points that I want to make. And I believe I brought your chart up here, AJ.
Yeah.
This, I think, is like another bit of confluence. Describe what it is that we're looking at here.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is a simple moving average, 1,458 days, so 4 years. This simple moving average is, and basically, every single bear market we have seen the price come down and test this 4 year smooth moving average, and it previously it has been a very, very good accumulation phase for accumulating Bitcoin, and when these dots start to turn blue, that also indicates that we are in a very, very good time to be accumulating Bitcoin. And then as the price starts to increase, the dots start to change and get closer to that red color, which signals for a time to sell, really, the perfect time to sell. But as of right now, we are in that very, very important vicinity, which is that accumulation vicinity. And it just gives us more confidence that the bottom is very, very close, if not already been in. I still do have my target of around $15,500, but this signals to us that we are very, very close to the bottom, because historically 2015 perfectly found support along this 4 year SMA. Then again in 2018, 2019, and during that COVID crash in March 2020. So we're there right now, and it just gives us that more confidence that we are very close to that bottom. Now, with everything that's going on at the moment, I think there is still more downside, and with a lot of people talking about the recession as well, I think that could push the price down further as well. So what's your take on this, Ben? Because we've never actually sort of broken below this level. Yes, we've closed a few days below this level, but we've never actually had a major move below this level. Do you think a recession could, and these rising interest rates, do you think they could get us that catalytic drop below this SMA?
I don't know. I'm gonna say no, because I think there's two different scenarios here. Either we kind of accumulate, but take a small bounce, or kind of go very, very close to it, like we saw. I think it was 2019, 2018. If so there we're flirting with that line quite closely.
Yeah,
and I think we're going to see something very similar again. I've been keeping an eye just on other bits of data. So I'm going to tell you that the price of wheat is down, the price of corn is down, the price of gold is down. And these are kind of indicating a few different things for me. So this indicates that, when we judge, is there a recession? What's the number one metric we look at? It's what is inflation? I know it's a measure of GDP, but we look at, what's the inflation like in the UK, and the US, and then we use that to judge how good is the market. Now, CPI includes the price of food, the price of oil, and things like this. So if we begin to see an alleviation of the pressure on these different assets, then I think that we're going to be actually very well placed to see that inflation begin to start ticking down, and that's then going to increase, the confidence in investors ultimately, and I think that then is going to bring more money into the market. And then obviously, if people begin to see a slight change, then people will think, okay, now the market's going to go back up. We've had our accumulation phase. What am I going to be buying for the best return? And I think a lot of people will be coming straight to crypto and obviously, staying there as well. That's my little take. But
I think that's
there
great.
is have you because there's also the housing market which we have to consider as well.
I did mention this to you before. The Fed plans to reset the housing market. I think there's a little video here. I don't know if we'd get copyright if I played it.
It's free, isn't it?
Yes, so it should be all good.
Somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset. We need to get back to a place where supply and demand are back.
So Jerome Powell basically says, the housing market needs that reset. The housing market is up, 37%. And basically what he says in this is that for, new people who've never bought a house before, first time buyers, the market is just incredibly, incredibly expensive for them at the moment. And I think, basically what he's saying is he wants to reset that market to make it easier for people who are, first time buyers to be able to actually afford their first house.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a couple different things that will allow this to happen. So, one, the interest rates are going up. So that means it's more expensive for people to borrow. So people might just not, they might not buy a house, They might just move into just move in and rent somewhere. Why not? Rental prices might become very expensive. But, in terms of first time buyers, what we need to see is to have the price come down. And in order for that to happen, we need to have a supply increase of people selling their houses, which now the house prices are very expensive. So people do want to sell their houses. So we need to see more people selling. Then you also need to see less people buying, which if it's expensive to buy, but you get a good price to sell, this is going to have people some people stepping away, but then you'll also have more people wanting to sell their house. And I think that should alleviate some of the pressures, on the housing market, which, again, then once Jerome Powell feels as though he's done, maybe not Jerome Powell, but once the market thinks that Jerome Powell has achieved his goal, then we have faith in him again, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But let's jump onto the chart. Yeah, let's jump onto some charts. I want to kind of see, so how does this all plan out?
Yeah, let's start off with the Nasdaq, I think, because sort of, we know Bitcoin is correlated to it. And for me, as of right now, Bitcoin is waiting to see what the Nasdaq is about to do, because the Nasdaq, as of right now, where you can see this green arrow on my screen, is testing this very, very important resistance level. Now, this is on the daily. So, this is going to play a big, big part in what happens, because, the bigger the time frame, the stronger these sort of resistance levels and support levels are. So you can see that we've had so much resistance here previously, and we are testing that resistance level as of right now. If we can get a break to the upside, then there's a pretty high possibility that we are going to continue to see lots of upside within the traditional market, and that will follow on with the crypto market as well. We've had lots of support along this level as well. So if we do see a rejection from this level, then I think the likelihood of it is we will come down and find support again along this support level. But for me personally, in the shorter term, I do think that we are going to have that, slight relief rally. Maybe I told you in, Saturday's video that this could take us up to potentially 25 to 30,000. So hopefully, we can get this break to the upside here. Then I would like to see the price come up to this resistance level here. This has been a very, very important previous support level and now resistance level. As you can see in the past, we have found so much support here, so much resistance here. If we do come up and test this resistance level again, we could see a slight rejection, maybe retest it again, and then get that initial break to the upside is what I would, initially like to see, because then we can start talking about, the resistance level all the way up at the top here, which is in fact going to be the price target if we do break to the upside here. But yeah, we do have this very strong resistance level here. So that is something we need to, keep an eye out on. And if we do get a rejection here, there's always that potential that we can come back and test the previous resistance, which will then, act as support at this level here. This, resistance sort of correlates with what Bitcoin is doing as of right now. We are at, a critical level for Bitcoin right now, because we are at major support. This is on the 4 hour, so it's, in sort of the shorter term. But again, this is the crypto market is sort of just waiting on the Nasdaq to see if the Nasdaq can break this resistance. If the Nasdaq can break this resistance, then I believe that Bitcoin is also going to break this resistance as well. We did have a slight false break here. Volume wasn't there at all, and we did see that rejection. As of right now, we are getting a very slight rejection after testing that resistance level. Again, lots of resistance along this level. So as I said, this is going to be a very key level for Bitcoin to break. If we can break this level, use it as support, then there's a pretty high chance that we're going to come and test this resistance level up here. This is very strong resistance. If we can't break this, then I think we're going to see a big rejection back down to maybe the levels that we are at currently, because this is such an important resistance level as of right now. So if we do break above it, it's going to act as very strong support. So that's sort of what I'm looking at in the shorter term for Bitcoin. If we're taking a look at sort of the larger time frame, you can see that we are bouncing off of this support level here. So if I just show you this support level here, we are getting a slight bounce off it. The weekly candle has only just opened, so I'm quite excited to see what can happen this week. If we can get that confirmed bounce. For that confirmed bounce, I would like to see a second green candle. Just give me that confidence that we are going to get that initial bounce. And personally, for me, that bounce could take us all the way up to the mid-range of this falling channel. It has been this mid channel has been very important. Previously, we've had slight consolidation at this level before, lots of consolidation there, and we have used it as support as well. So I do think the mid range of this channel is going to be a very important level, and that's sort of why I think the price can sort of get to that $25,000 level. But also there is that $30,000 level as well, which sits, if I just get the box tool up, which sits around this vicinity here. You can see that previously we have used this level as very, very strong support. And when we were in this sort of testing this again for support, if I just take a look at the daily chart, you can see that at this level, we sort of consolidated for a very, very long period of time. So I do think that if we do get to this level, we are going to struggle to get above this level. This, between the 30,000 and that $32,000 level is going to be a very, very important level. I do think there's a possibility that we are going to get to either the 25 or the 30,000. As of right now, I'm not too sure which level we will get to, but I think that because the indicators are very, very oversold. I think the indicators need to sort of reset before we could see any more downside. I do still think there could be some more downside, but for now, I think that price that we came down to $17,600 approximately was sort of that short-term bottom. I don't know what your opinion is on this, Ben. Do you think we could head lower, or do you think sort of that was the bottom, or do you think that was just the short-term bottom for?
I don't know. I think it's a short-term bottom. I think we will probably see a little bit of alleviation. I think we'll have a bit of movement to the upside, hopefully. But yeah, I don't think that we're finished with flirting with this kind of 15K range. I don't think we're finished there. I mean, obviously it would be nice, but we're on quite a high time frame here. So if we were to get back up to that top level of resistance, then it's probably going to take another couple of weeks. I would say maybe 3-4 weeks. If we are to remain inside this downward channel. But I don't know. It's extremely hard at the moment to judge. But like I said, I don't think that we have seen the lowest that we're going to get, which is a shame, but I do see more downside, unfortunately.
Yeah, and when we do sort of establish that bottom, I think there's going to be lots and lots of accumulation around that level. Lots of consolidation, which is great, a great accumulation level for us. So,
one thing I'm kind of surprised at is I feel as though somebody must know something that us retail traders don't. Now, I mean, I don't know what it is, but if you think about it, you would have thought that there would be so much more volume at these lower levels. Maybe it's just because everybody's distracted with what's happening in traditional markets, worried about recession. But I think until we get a huge amount of volume, we can't really say that we're out of the woods. That for me will be one of the key things that I'm looking at, is because I will want to see big institutional investors starting to buy in a very big way. Because then that's oh wait, what you're buying? Oh, well, I should buy as well then, And then it's kind of that talk on Wall Street of that fund was buying X amount. Okay, well that I think is going to be one of the key things. But obviously, we don't really have too much volume yet.
Yeah, that's sort of the major thing for me as well. Volume. There's just hardly any volume in the market at the moment. And when we get these breakouts, like this breakout on Ethereum, we had this inverse head and shoulders pattern. We did also have one of these on the Bitcoin chart as well. We did break to the upside, but there was just no increase in volume whatsoever. So sort of this is, really. This is sort of what's holding, the market back at the moment, just that volume personally. And that's why, we aren't seeing these patterns that, usually play out, that we're not seeing them play out to their full potential. I think I showed a couple of days ago, it was a rising wedge which broke to the downside, but unfortunately the first TP was hit, but the second one wasn't. Usually the TP would be hit, but the volume just isn't there. Every time we get a breakout, all we're really seeing is consolidation, and that's what we're seeing right now with Ethereum. We've managed to break above this resistance here, we've broken above this resistance here. They were quite close to each other, so it's not I wasn't too surprised that we did break this one. But all we're seeing now is just consolidation between these two resistance levels, which this level was previous resistance, now support. And we're just seeing it consolidate. And we just basically just wait and see what the traditional market is going to do.
And I also just want to add in something, based on this volume, and this is something that we see across all of the major coins. Is if you've got it on the screen here. So once we get to where is this? The 15th, where it says number 15 on the left shoulder. So that is when we get down to these levels, which are new lows or considered new lows, we have a huge amount of buying volume, because everyone's okay, it's really low. So we know that there's a lot of support in from the market in general. So we know that there is volume. People do want to buy when they think it's going to the lowest point, which is really good to see. But then obviously once it starts to accumulate a little bit higher, people have bought the dip already. And so it is good to see the long-term holders stepping in when we get to that, those lower levels, which gives me confidence that we're probably not going to see a $12,000 or $10,000 Bitcoin. And hence why I think, the lowest will probably go is I'm going to say kind of maybe 16, 15 and a half, something like this. That's just kind of based on the on-chain data. Add something in there.
Carry on. So I was just going to show quickly, I mentioned this a few times, the CVDD, that's currently sat at, $15,500 approximately. Previously, the past 3 bear cycles, it has predicted the bottom perfectly. So that's just why I think $15,500 is going to be the bottom.
Yeah, I want to quickly answer this question here. So, evening, guys. If you get time, do you have any idea why Terra is pumping today? To be honest, I haven't. Have you seen? I know it's up by about 70%.
Yeah, UST,
which is absolutely insane. But to be honest, I think there's kind of 2 different things. It could either be that they have the the burning mechanism that I know they were working on that. It could be that that's up and running. But at the end of the day, with a coin that has such a low market cap, such a high amount of coins, and no real functionality, I don't, you can make money on it, but it's maybe not what I would consider a strong project to invest in anymore.
Yeah. No, personally, I would stay away from it. For me, what I think is probably traders, just sort of manipulating it and trying to see if they can make money.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's very easy to manipulate. Like the market cap is really low. I mean, I say really low. Obviously, it's grown massively in the past day or something. I think it's just people talking about it just removed a zero, which obviously is like a 10x. Yeah, like a 10x gain. But the market cap, what was it like yesterday? I don't know where are we at now on coin market cap. Where is so it's $670 million, which is really, really nothing, and that's grown by almost 60% in the past day. So a coin with only 300 million market cap, it's very easy to manipulate. And so I don't think that there's any major news where we're like, hey, this is amazing, everyone get in. It could, like you said, AJ, just be a bit of manipulation from the markets there.
Yeah, that's what I think, and it's probably most likely what's happening.
Yeah. But there you go. So, all right, guys. If you have any other questions or anything like long term, let us know down in the comments so we can answer those. But there's not really too much going on in terms of like big news that we're going to see this week. Obviously, we're just going to keep you up to date and understand everything that is happening, and also how it's going to affect this kind of Bitcoin price and the areas of support that we're currently in.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. I saw this. Chinese state-owned media warns that Bitcoin is going to zero. That signals that we are close to a bottom. If you can see my phone screen right now.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Yeah. That's good news for me, I think, because
they banned it like 4 times. It's like, guys, just get over it. I think they also put out a statement saying that they were happy to that they said, I think Bitcoin is bad. Bitcoin was compared to a Ponzi scheme, but stable coins can be good if they're regulated. But the Chinese, they're never consistent on their message about Bitcoin. Bitcoin was, it's banned. It was illegal to hold, and then it was illegal for banks to deal with it. And then mining got banned. But throughout all that time, it's still pumped, and lots of Chinese interest was usually there. Now, obviously, with the mining ban, it's not so much.
Yeah. Esteban said he's finally made it.
Too early. Good old Esteban. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yes. Love it that he's tuning in from Colombia.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Esteban. Okay. All right, guys.
Hi, AJ. Your name is one of the most common Indian names. I was wondering if either your parents are from India. No, they're not. I don't know what made them choose a name, but I'll have to ask them.
I think it's a horrible name.
Go away.
Well, okay. And then Esteban, I see you just put in here, is Celsius 3 arrows, and it's still on the thin line. Yeah, still on. I mean, I think 3 arrows are pretty much done. I did see that Goldman Sachs are looking. Maybe I'll find the article for you quickly. But Goldman Sachs have been raising money to buy Celsius assets. Just going to type in Goldman Sachs Celsius, see if we can come up with it. Yes. So this was from 2 days ago. Let me share the screen. Here we go. Boom. So this is the head honcho, Mr. Goldman Sachs. It's not actually Mr. Goldman Sachs, but he's the CEO and chairman. So they were looking to raise $2 billion from investors to buy up distressed assets from troubled crypto lender Celsius, according to 2 people familiar, which actually I think could be very, very good, because this will bring an investment banking giant into the crypto space, like pretty much directly. But the proposed deal would allow investors to buy up Celsius assets at potentially big discounts in the event of a bankruptcy filing. So they haven't filed for bankruptcy yet, but they are, everyone is ready to bounce on them, when they do. BlockFi, they also gave them a 1 week kind of time to decide if they want BlockFi to buy their assets. But considering, BlockFi are not in a great place themselves, I don't know how that deal would work.
Yeah, neither would I. It's really hard, because from my understanding, they borrow from another sort of competitor, and then they use that to borrow more money to sort of lend out themselves, don't they? And it's just sort of a constant thing. And then there's just one that decides to make a bad decision, maybe over leveraging themselves, and then that just is a domino effect throughout the whole.
It is, and if because basically you give them the money and then they just say, okay, we're going to try and find a way of making yield, from this.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's where these companies who are lending it, if they're doing it irresponsibly or they're investing in a certain platform and the platform begins to go downhill, then obviously, the lender or the person that you've given your money to, they can't get their money out from somewhere. So if they can't get their money, they can't then, which is actually your money, they can't pay you back with it. And that's kind of, where you do see, like you said, AJ, this kind of domino effect.
Yeah.
But one last question here, AJ. Do you plan to sell the Bitcoin or ETH in the Ethereum and buy it back lower?
We are not doing that. No, we've told you before.
Only in profit, right?
Yeah. Let me just bring it up. We are.
I think what we did, guys, was if you watched it, we had a couple of limit orders in. So those were placed at, I think, 20K for Bitcoin and then also 19, and those both got hit. So we did buy Bitcoin at those levels. And so, I mean, that's currently in a profit, I believe.
Yeah, our strategy is dollar cost averaging. Now, I have been talking about $15,500 for a while now, but it's not 100% certain that we are going to get down to that level. It's just sort of the analysis that I'm looking at now is that's the level that I think we are going to come down to. Now, the bottom could have already been in. Now, if we sell now and sort of anticipate that the market's going to go down further, we could have missed the bottom that we'd already bought. So that's why it's always safe to dollar cost average, because you can never actually catch the bottom. So we do still have buy orders at $16,000, $17,000, and $15,500. This is on the Bybit account, which is the $500 account, currently in $65 profit, and then we've got the $5,000 account, which is currently in $514 profit. We do have the exact same buy orders there for Bitcoin and Ethereum. We do have one more buy order at $800, and then we have a little bit of a cash reserve left over, which if the price goes lower than I expect it to, then we have that cash reserve to just dollar cost average that position down even further. So to answer your question, no, we're not doing that. We're dollar cost averaging in for me, and I'm sure Ben can agree, that's the best possible way to sort of get as close to the bottom as you can, because you don't want to sort of buy as close to the bottom as you can. The price goes up and then you think, oh, it's going to go down further, so you sell, and then the price never goes down again. So, and you missed the opportunity there. So for me, dollar cost averaging is the best thing to do.
Yeah, I'm actually going to come out and disagree with you there, AJ. I think what the best thing to do is just take all your money and put it into Celsius.
Yeah, you're going to be homeless in a few weeks, aren't you?
Yeah. What happened to the money on your trading? Oh, I don't know. Oh, no. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back tomorrow, so make sure you hit the bell notification and subscribe to the channel, and also follow us on Twitter. Well, I'll bring this up here for a second.
Yeah, let me just bring the Twitter up as well. Yeah, the link will be in the description as well. There you go, the Twitter. Make sure you follow that. We'll be updating you on there as well, so make sure you follow us over there.
Right, take care, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching.
See you tomorrow.